Hello, everyone. Welcome back over to Ward Beecher Planetarium's Facebook for our Keep Looking Up. We just concluded our 360 live stream of Big Astronomy over on Big Astronomy's YouTube channel. And please let me know as you're coming back what you thought of the show. And keep in mind that Youngstown was a piece of this project. We were a piece of this show and other components of the Big Astronomy project to make that all possible. So let us know what you thought. For those of you who are just now joining us, I'd like to just quickly reintroduce ourselves. I'm Tiffany Wilbrick at the as planetarium lecturer. We have Kurt Spivey, our planetarium engineer, with us tonight.
Hey, everybody.
We also have our students, Eleni.
Hello.
Jenny.
Hello, everybody.
And Nishan.
Hello.
So please feel free to ask us questions about Big Astronomy or about our star talk as we continue. We're going to conclude our program with a little look at the current night sky, not over Youngstown, but over Chile. We can see what looks a little, what's different observing the sky in the northern hemisphere where we live versus in the southern hemisphere below the equator in Chile. Do we have any questions so far before we get started? We'll wait just one more minute here, and I'll again reiterate what Big Astronomy is. It's a planetarium show. Our planetarium remains closed as most planetariums around the world. So we adapted the planetarium show to be a 360 live stream on YouTube so that people could continue to enjoy the planetarium show from their homes. So that's what we saw tonight. If you missed the chance to see it, that's okay, because there's one more chance for a live stream tonight at 10 p.m. We will share that on our Facebook, Ward Beecher Planetarium's Facebook, so you can get the link for that if you'd like to see the show again, or if you missed the 8 o'clock live stream. This is a live show. It will not be archived, so it's your only chance to go see it and learn a little bit more about the amazing astronomy that's happening in Chile. All right, any questions, guys, before we switch over?
I'm not seeing any questions.
No problem. Feel free to engage with us on Facebook as we switch over, but I'm going to share my screen now so that we can take a little look at our nighttime sky. All right, so I have the sky set for tonight about 9 o'clock, about the time our show will wrap up tonight. And this is the sky over Youngstown right now that will start in a familiar place. And I want to mention that the software I'm using here, what you're seeing here, is called Stellarium. It's a free open source software that you can download on your computer, on your tablet, even on your phone. And it's a portable planetarium. It's like a virtual planetarium. It's really, really cool. I love Stellarium. If you like it too, please download it and play around with it. It's a lot of fun. But I have some of the UI up here so you can see that we're set for tonight, indeed, at about 9 o'clock. We're facing south here in Youngstown. You can see down here we are indeed in Youngstown and on Earth. That's good to know. And we have our moon up tonight, which actually makes it a little harder to see. You would not be able to see this. I have the atmosphere turned off, so it would look a little more like that if you had no light pollution around your house. But even if you had no light pollution, the moon is big and bright tonight. But it's right next to two planets, Saturn and Jupiter, right in your southern sky. Bright, beautiful objects for you to go and enjoy. But we're not going to stick around in Youngstown tonight. We are going to head to Chile, where we saw some beautiful skies in our show, our Big Astronomy show tonight. So we'll stay at the same time and the same date, but Stellarium has a wonderful function where you can travel anywhere you want in the world with a few clicks and see what the sky would look like from that town or country. So I'm typing in Chile, and I'm going to type in a larger city right near CTIO and Gemini, two of the observatories featured in the Big Astronomy show. La Serena is a larger coastal town. It's a beautiful town, just maybe 20 miles or so away from some of these world-class observatories. So this is the sky you would see over those observatories in Chile. And you can see the southern sky looks a whole lot different. I don't see any Jupiter or Saturn, or I don't see the moon in the south part of the sky. But we do have but this is a sky that we physically will never see in Youngstown. This has to do with where you live, the latitude of your location on Earth. That can affect our perspective of the sky. So we're seeing stars and other features that we wouldn't get to see in Youngstown. I'm going to highlight a few of those. My favorite are these two little cotton balls or clouds of looks like little little nighttime clouds in the sky, but they're a whole lot cooler than clouds. These are the large Magellanic Cloud and the small Magellanic Cloud. Sometimes referred to as dwarf galaxies. They're collections of stars that are gravitationally bound to our Milky Way galaxy, but not quite a part of it. And we can't see that from the Northern Hemisphere. So these are visible most of the year in Chile. And one really neat thing about Stellarium, this is what you would see probably over Chile, even though I did turn off the atmosphere. The stars are so amazing. This is part of what makes Chile so special for astronomy. There's clear skies. This happens because they have at least in the northern part of Chile, they have very dry air, so not as many clouds in the sky. And there's lots of remote locations where there's no light pollution. And they have over 300 cloudless nights per year. The skies there can get so dark that you can dance with your shadow from the light of the Milky Way, with the light from the Milky Way galaxy. That's how incredibly dark it can get there. But another thing about Stellarium is, even though this is what you would see from with your eyes looking up if you were in Chile, if you had a telescope or really good binoculars, you could zoom in and see something a little up close. So let's look at this large Magellanic Cloud. This is more what it would look like through a decent telescope. And you can see a nebula here. I believe this is the Tarantula Nebula, where stars are being born. Okay, as you can see, this is a large collection of stars right there. And let's zoom out. We'll go look in close at the small Magellanic Cloud.
Tiffany, while you're zooming into small Magellanic Cloud, I just want to tell you the cool thing about the Tarantula Nebula, largest star-forming region we see. If it was as close to us as the Orion Nebula, it would be as bright as Venus in our nighttime sky. It's so huge. It's way, way bigger than the Orion Nebula.
Wow, I did not know that. So the Tarantula Nebula is huge. You can actually see it here pretty well without even zooming in. That's really neat. So definitely a highlight if you ever make it south of the equator, if you're traveling somewhere, go try to find a clear night and see if you can find the large and small Magellanic Clouds, because you will not see them in Youngstown. One of the more popular constellations in the southern sky is the Southern Cross. It's a small little simple constellation. It's also called Crux. Um, I never really understood why it's on so many flags and like in Australia and different countries in the southern hemisphere. It's really ingrained in a lot of different cultures in the south part of our planet, and I never really understood that until I visited myself to Chile and I saw the southern sky. This cross is so bright and just it's like a beacon in the sky, and it's up again almost all year round. So you can see it. It's sort of like our Big Dipper, but it has a little more cultural meaning than maybe our Big Dipper does to us. But it's very bright and very easy to spot. It can also point you to the South Pole. You know how Polaris, our North Pole star, our North Star, always points us exactly north. Well, there is no South Star, but Crux can help you find this where the South Pole is. So the South Pole of planet Earth hovers over a dark place in the sky. It doesn't happen to hover to point at a nice bright star like our North Pole. But you take the length of Crux, I think it's 3.5 times roughly. You repeat that about 3.5 times, and that is your South Pole marker. So you take the long side of Crux, the long part of the cross, you multiply by about 3.5 times, and that will point you to where the South Pole of the planet Earth points in the sky. And that's important because as the Earth rotates throughout the night and the skies change, then the stars appear to rotate around that point, just like in the north, around the North Star. Another neat thing that the southern hemisphere has that we cannot see, we have Alpha and Beta Centauri here. These two stars here are the closest. Well, there's one called Proxima Centauri that's a little dimmer, but that's a 3-star system that is the closest star system to our star, the sun. So these are the closest stars to our solar system. And we can't see them from here, but you can appreciate them in the southern hemisphere.
And Alpha Centauri is the 4th brightest star in the entire sky.
Yeah, so it's incredibly bright. It's not the brightest, even though it's the closest, because their stars vary in size and in brightness by quite a lot. So the brightest star in the night sky we actually can see here, and it's up in our sky later in the evening. Right now, it's Sirius, but it's further away than these stars. It's just a really big, bright star, so it shines real bright. So those are just a few things that you can see. That's just to get you started in the southern hemisphere. One thing I did want to point out is the Andeans, the local native indigenous people of Chile and in Argentina, the people who live near the Andes Mountains, they, as it was mentioned in the Big Astronomy show, that indigenous knowledge is really important. It's really important that we build on that. And those indigenous people have been looking at the stars for thousands of years. And one way that they have interpreted the night sky is by making constellations, not out of the stars, or not just out of the stars, but also out of the dark lanes of the Milky Way. So you can see the plane of our galaxy here, kind of panning around, so you can see that. And with those really, really dark skies in Chile, that's the thing that for me that stood out the most, that was really the most breathtaking, was the shape and crispness of the Milky Way galaxy. The Milky Way is just stunning. And these dark regions that you see here, they look like they have veins or something in them. That detail is really apparent if you have very, very good skies, like the ancient Andeans did. So they made constellations out of the dust lanes of the Milky Way, these dark regions you're seeing here. I don't know many of them, but I can share the ones that I do know. This dark region here we sometimes call the coal sack. It's really, really, really dark. There's a big concentration of dust there, and it's just very, very dark part of the sky. The Andinians call that the frog. So they make a little frog out of this dark region of the Milky Way. There's also a big llama in the sky using Alpha and Beta Centauri as the eyes. We have the head here, the long neck, the body, and I believe the feet are, the llama's upside down, so the feet are coming up this way. And there's a baby llama here as well. I can't quite make it out in the Stellarium, but it's just behind the big llama. So then there's stories that go along with these dust lane constellations that were passed down and shared. If you want to know more about that, we have some of those stories detailed in the education guide of Big Astronomy. It's all on the website bigastronomy.org. There's lots of great educational activities that you can try. And there's some of this really wonderful lore preserved in there as well. I'd like to end by panning around north, because another really interesting thing about the sky in the Southern Hemisphere is that we do share some stars. Some of the stars names that you're seeing here, if you've seen some of our star talks, are a little familiar, but they look different. When I went to Chile, I went with as a part of another NSF program, funded program called the Astronomy in Chile Educator Ambassadors Program, which was an amazing opportunity that I was selected with just a handful of other astronomy educators across the US to go to Chile and learn about some of this stuff. And so we were all astronomers. We all looked at the sky regularly. But when we looked up at the nighttime sky, we were like, what is this? I remember seeing Leo the lion, and he was upside down. And it took me 5 full minutes to realize that that was the constellation Leo. So the constellations that we do share between the northern and southern hemisphere are the ones that we see towards the south. They see towards the north, and they see them upside down compared to how we see them. They have a different shape. They look a little different. So these 3 bright stars here, if you've seen our shows before, you know that's the southern, or the summer triangle, right? But it's whereas here it kind of it sticks towards our east and western part of our sky, and it really looks more like an equilateral triangle. It looks very almost perfect in our sky. It just feels a little warped compared to what we're used to experiencing here in Youngstown or in the northern hemisphere. If we continue to go up, remember what we saw in our southern sky in Youngstown here at the start of our talk. We saw Jupiter, Saturn, and the moon, except it was the moon and then Jupiter and then Saturn, or the moon and then Saturn and then Jupiter. So it's backwards. If you didn't notice before, the La Serena, Chile, where we are right now, is I think 24 degrees south latitude. So it's 24 degrees off of the equator. We in Youngstown live 40 degrees north of the equator. So we live a lot closer to the North Pole than they live to the South Pole. So that affects things as well. It's really, really interesting to see how the sky changes above us as we travel to different parts of the world. Rising in the northeast over here, we have our this is Pegasus, or the Great Square of Autumn, or the Great Square of Pegasus. Trying to figure out exactly. Okay, there we go. So there's it was difficult for me. I kept thinking that the neck was supposed to come out this way, but from the southern hemisphere perspective, here's the neck of the horse, the eye, the nose, and these are the front legs of Pegasus. That's our fall time constellation that we can see here in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, it just turned spring. So I don't know if they call it the Great Square of Autumn. Probably not. And again, Mars is rising over here in the east, similar to us in Youngstown. All right, so that's just a few constellations. Are there any requests or questions that we have about the Southern Hemisphere? I would love to answer them. Please put them in the comments below, and others will share them with me, and we can answer those. If we don't have any further questions, we can wrap up here soon. I did want to mention that again, if you want to see Big Astronomy and learn a little bit more about why do we do all this astronomy, some of the world's best astronomy, science and astronomy in Chile. Why is it there? Who are the people that make that possible? And what are these world-class telescopes like? And how does it feel to be inside of those telescopes and to work at those telescopes? I think that the Planetarium program does a really great job at covering some of these topics. And you can see that again at 10 p.m. tonight. So in about an hour, we're going to do one last stream for the world premiere of Big Astronomy.
Tiffany, I'd like to point out too that as soon as we can return to the dome at YSU, Big Astronomy on the Dome will be one of our very first shows.
Yes, absolutely. Kurt, if you'd like to turn your camera on and share anything else with us, please feel free. It was our hope to be able to share this show with you under our dome. We're really proud of it. Being a partner in this amazing project has been just such a privilege. So
what was the original premiere date? Was it May 1st or was it the end of April? I forget.
May 2nd, I believe, or May 5th, one of those two.
Yeah, we had it on our schedule, and we were going to be a grand finale on our season last year, but of course everybody knows what happened with that. But we want everybody to see the show. We also had another brand new show that we had just started about the sun that will be coming back. And right now we can't have shows live on campus because even though the university is open, the regulations that the university has put on inside large groups are so restrictive, there's no way we could meet them. We came up with our little things, but we would have to literally contact trace every single person that came to the planetarium, and we just don't have the resources to do that right now. So we are, as soon as things let up a little bit, going to be back under the dome, but we hope you are enjoying both this live show and our other pre-recorded shows that we are putting on throughout the weeks.
Yes, we are working on pre-recorded content in addition to our Keep Looking Up series. We have 4 other series. And if you are interested in those, you can find them on our Facebook or YouTube channel. But we also have a mailing list where we mail those to you just once a week. And we send you our latest videos so you can keep up with what we're doing. And that's how we're connecting with you all while the planetarium remains closed.
I should mention that we have a our last of our brand new pre-record segments is coming out Tuesday. It's called Life of a Scientist.
Yes, I'm very excited about that one. We're highlighting a scientist, and this was all done by our student Eleni here. So definitely check that out. We'll put a comment in the Facebook chat with a link to how you can sign up to our mailing list if you'd like to see that. We mail those out on Tuesdays or Thursdays typically.
Ruby the Space Cat wanted to say hi.
There's a cat in space over there.
At least half of a cat, anyway. Okay, you can move over. There you go.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming out. We will be doing another Keep Looking Up in 2 weeks. That will, I believe that's October 10th. And our topic is black holes. So we'll be talking all things black holes. Next, Keep Looking Up. So keep an eye out on that. And if we don't have any other questions, we will. I'll make sure to respond in the comments if you have any. But we'll wrap up tonight. Thank you all so much for coming out, and remember to keep looking up.